name is Lily Shearhart, and I'm going to be talking about what is happening with the presidential debate and COVID-19. Right now, there is a presidential debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. When COVID-19 cases began to spike in the U.S., Trump immediately took action by closing the border and stopping all trade coming from China. Our country went into lockdown and a lot of people lost their jobs because of it. A way that Trump helped people not go broke was sending out stimulus checks to everyone in the U.S. Even when COVID got bad in our state, he never mandated masks. He knew that it would be unconstitutional to do so. So he let every governor of each state decide whether or not they wanted to mandate masks. What has Joe Biden done for us during the pandemic? He and Nancy Pelosi have complained non-stop about how President Trump has done nothing for us when actually he's helped keep the country afloat, and they sat back and watched it. Shortly after lockdown, a black man named George Floyd was killed by white police officers. He was a drug addict and had illegal drugs with him in his car. So when he saw that the police officers were coming towards his car, he immediately popped pills into his mouth and swallowed them. When he was face to face with the officers, he resisted arrest, so they had him on the ground, and one officer had his knee on his neck. Floyd was screaming, "I can't breathe." 9 minutes later, he died. Shortly after his death, there were national protests with signs saying, "Black Lives Matter" and "I can't breathe." The people who support this movement, it's called the BLM for short, have burnt, looted, and destroyed buildings and businesses. They have tore down national statues such as defacing Winston Churchill and General Robert E. Lee. Trump says that this movement is a symbol of hate, so he does not support it, but Biden does. After that, he immediately got a black woman named Kamala Harris to run as nominee for Democratic vice president. Now he says that he supports the black community and that having a woman means he doesn't hate women. My opinion, I think that Trump should be president for all the things that he has done for us. He kept the country out of a second depression. If you look at all the things that he has done from a constitutional yardstick, not many of the things he did were constitutional. Take the stimulus checks, for example. It's not constitutional for the president to just give out money. It would have been better if he went to the states and asked each one of them to decide whether or not they wanted to give out the stimulus checks. If anything, though, he did help keep the country afloat. The Black Lives Matter movement is actually really racial. What they're saying is that Black Lives Matter more than mixed or white. Think about it this way. If Black Lives Matter so much that you would go and burn and loot businesses and buildings, then why don't you go ahead and give them your house, your money, and your clothes? Would it then become worth it to go out there and burn buildings down? I don't think it would. Yes, it is true that back then black people were slaves, but then again, that was back then. And our third president, Thomas Jefferson, had 600 slaves, but he treated each and every one of them right. So saying that they're being oppressed now is not right, because they're not. No one owns slaves. Some people do, but who freed or who let the Little Rock Nine go into an all-white school? Our white president, Dwight Eisenhower. Now tell me how he is racist. As for people burning, looting, and destroying buildings and businesses, they all deserve to go to prison. A person made a statement a while back, and it is so true. If only these people knew what God was capable of and what was coming for them, none of this would have happened. They would have all stopped and have been nice to each other. We are called the United States for a reason. All of us are equally created. In the Declaration of Independence, it says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, which among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." This means that everyone, white, black, or mixed, is created equal in God's image. This is my third speech for the Ron Paul curriculum. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feedback is greatly appreciated.